Welcome back to another Test Stuff install tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to install our RGB animated center light strip for the Model 3 and Model Y. Now, if you're familiar with our dash light strip, or you may even own our dash light strip, it's essentially the same thing, just for the center. So all the same reasons that I believe that our dash light strip is the best ambient light strip that you can get for the Model 3 and Model Y also applies to this. It looks OEM, it's very easy to install. You don't have to take apart anything. There's hundreds of color combinations to choose from via an app. We include an occupancy sensor that allows for auto on and off. And if you own both, as you can see, you can sync them up. The animated modes also sync. Now, there's really only one disclaimer, and that has to do with compatibility. This is only compatible with Generation 2 center consoles. So if your center console has the sliding door, then it's compatible. If you have the gloss black center console, then it's not compatible. Also, this is powered via your auxiliary port. So now getting into what's included. First up are your light strips, one for each side. Like I said, this is essentially identical to our dash light strip, so it uses the same edgeless LED technology. The brains, which have USB connectors on the end that will plug into the USB on the end of the light strips. Your auxiliary power, which does have an on and off, and this plugs into the brains. Your occupancy sensor, which if you are going to use, you would, instead of plugging the auxiliary straight into the brains, you'd plug it into this first and then into the brains. And finally, a pry tool, which will make installation a little bit easier. So now getting started with the install, and whichever side you're installing, sit on the other side. So right now I'm going to be installing the right side, or the side that's on the passenger side. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat. And I'm only going to be showing the installation of one side. You just do the same thing for the other side. So now go ahead and grab your LED strip, and all you're going to be doing is just wedging it in between the black trim piece and the silver trim piece. And if you're unaware, this black piece actually pops off. It's just held in by clips. So just to kind of give a better visualization. So with the LED strip facing up, or the white part of the light strip facing up, you're just going to be wedging it starting at the back and just kind of pull the black trim piece out a little bit, and you'll see it pops right in. And we do not recommend pushing it all the way down. If it does go all the way down at first, it's fine when you're, first installing it all the way up. But we actually want the light strip to be flush with the black trim piece, not the silver trim piece. The silver trim piece is too low. Will it work? Yes. Will it look okay? Yes. But it looks better when the LEDs are just slightly higher and aligned with the black trim piece. So from there, once you got it started, you can now just kind of work your way up, pushing it in. It's very, very easy. Just keep going until you get to the top. The top is where it gets pretty tight, and you will more than likely need the pry tool, and you'll just need to work with it a little bit. I like to take the pry tool just slightly above where I'm trying to insert it, just to kind of create some room, and it will take you working with it a little bit, but mine went in pretty easily right there. And like I said, you can just go back through, and if you have pushed it down a little bit too far, you can just go back here to the rear and actually pull this one up, because once you get it into the front will really hold it in place. And also, once you put it into the front once, it opens up the front a little bit, so it's easier to get back. So if you accidentally do remove the whole thing when you're trying to make the LEDs a little bit higher by doing what I'm doing here, putting it back in is much easier than the first time around. So let's see here, I'm now just going back through, and I'm just making it flush with the black trim piece and not the silver trim piece. There we go, looks good now. From there, you're going to grab your brains, and it doesn't matter which side you plug it into. Just go ahead, line up the USBs, and plug them right in. This is where you would grab the occupancy sensor if you were going to use it. And I say if, because this will, for some people, just turn off when they're stopped at like a stoplight or in traffic. For me personally, I do not use the occupancy sensor, and it'll turn off after roughly about 30 minutes. Plus, we also included one that has a quick little button just in case you want to manually turn it off. But if you are going to use the occupancy sensor, then, like I said, you plug one end into the brains, and then you plug the other end in to the auxiliary power, and then you just plug in the auxiliary power and then turn it on. I only have one side connected here, but like I said, you just do the same thing to the other side. This also does have a boot up animation. And for people wondering, because we got questions on the dash light, yes, it does remember what you had it set to. So for example, I normally don't use the like animated setting. I normally just use like a solid color. So I've recently been using red, and it'll do the boot up animation, and then it will remember, for instance, my red, and it'll go to the red. But that's how you install our RGB animated center light strip for the Model 3 and Model Y. In my opinion, the center light strip along with the dash light strip puts it on par, if not a little bit better looking than the new refreshed Model 3's interior ambient lighting. If you have any questions, you can contact us at contact@teststuff.com. If you're interested in purchasing this, I'll have it linked down below along with the dash light strip. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.